I'm going to use this deck so that I actually win. And I'm going to talk to you guys about friendships. And about, making relationships with other people. So, for me, when I went through high school, I never talked to anybody that I sat next to in class. And I remember, I have specific memories of feeling lonely sitting there. Thinking, well, why don't I just talk to somebody now? Oh, it would be weird, I can't do that. And I would end up never talking to them. And I would just be there the entire time. And it was so annoying. It was so distressing. And because of that, my experiences in class were much worse. Because, for example, I remember when I was in middle school and I had a friend in my math class, and we would both compete to see who could finish the problems earlier. And because of that, I had effort that, I put effort into it, and really it just turned out so much better. It was so much of a better experience. So when I went to community college, which is where I'm at right now, it's the summer, I had the thought, why is this something that happened? Why is it that I was so unable to try to make friendships? And what I realized is that it's really due to something which I'm going to at least call well played, thanks, status quo bias. The status quo is the way things are. So understandably, the status quo bias is wanting things to stay the same as how they are right now. So I'm actually going to win. This game's easy. When it comes to classes, basically, the first couple days, you can try to talk to your classmates, but if you don't, this creates the expectation, right? The expectation that you're not going to be talking to them. And again, this doesn't just apply to classrooms, this can apply to jobs. This happened to me with my job. So I worked for a couple years at Ralph's, and the first couple of days I was just kind of scared, and I ended up not talking to people. And then for the rest of the 2 years as a grocery clerk, I hardly talked to people just because I was worried that if I started talking to them, they would be confused. They would think it was weird and go, why is he talking to us now when he didn't before? That's how important this thing was. It really held me back. And when I finally realized it, I was like, oh shoot, this isn't necessarily something that I can escape because I'm still going to feel it. But I'm going to try my absolute hardest such that whenever I meet people for the first time, especially when it's in a structured environment, I'm going to talk to them. It's something that requires a lot of intentionality. So I started talking to people. The first semester of this year, it's in semesters for us here, I talked to people in all of my classes, and I made a bunch of friends through it, and my classes were so much more enjoyable because I had those relationships. And then the second semester I talked to my classmates, and that's also how I met my girlfriend, and it was just so great to actually be connected with people without having this overwhelming feeling of wanting to talk to people but being unable to. And trust me, it's not easy still. It can, it's difficult maybe for you to hear this as being the solution, because it can be very scary to talk to people for the first time. And I'm telling you that you have to talk to them the first time. But you have to trust me on this, because I think it's absolutely the case. Now, everybody wants to talk to someone. So another potential solution, and if you're already in situations where, it's past the first day, you can try to get over this bias by realizing it. This is going to be a lot of damage. You can realize that you have status quo bias and then just try to ignore it, move on from it and still talk to people, because they will just think, oh, well, I don't know if I would have been able to do that, but they would still be happy about it. So you can do that. But my number one tip is, especially if you're not able to do that, shoot, I might lose here. Please, I spirit. Shoot. Okay. I'll give him the well played back. What was that? I think that was genuine. My most important advice, again, is whenever you get into a situation where you're talking to people, so this could be the first day at work, the first day in a classroom, make sure that you talk to people, okay? That's my first big piece of advice that I've learned. Something else I've learned is that almost everybody wants to hang out. They want to be doing things, but they're scared of starting something, right? I've heard people, I've thought myself, like, okay, if these people actually cared about me, they would try to do stuff with me. And because no one's trying to do stuff with me, they don't care about me. Well, flip the question back on yourself and say, you care about them. Are you asking them to do stuff with you? And something else to note is, if they're people where you are hanging out with them and they hang out whenever you ask them and they don't ask you, that's not a reason to think that they don't care about you. They might just be scared of reaching out to you. It might be something that's difficult for them. But you can also still choose not to hang out with them if you would rather have people that commit to that. But tell them that, at least. And if you're someone who doesn't reach out and initiate things, then absolutely you should do that. So you can meet people just by, in new situations, making an effort to talk to them, getting over your fears for that, by, in the days up to it, focusing on it, having it in your head as a goal. I'm going to talk to people this first day. And once you've met people, you can be very explicit. Don't worry about being subtle. Be very, very explicit, asking them to go and do something with you. Okay? And if they don't want to, well then, what would have been the point of being subtle about it anyways? What would that have gained you? So just make sure that you make a very intentional effort to invite people to do stuff if you want to be doing stuff with people. And that's my advice. If you just do like those two things, you'll have such a better social life. And like, these things don't even rely on you being a certain type of person that can talk to people and convince them to be your friend. Because there's enough people, trust me, there's enough people in the world that might be in a situation similar to you, because the people I'm talking to, I'm assuming that, and even still for me, it's a struggle to find people to hang out with, to really be socializing. There's a lot of people like that want to talk to people more, want to hang out, but they have trouble with reaching out to other people. So it's up to you. It's up to you to be the kind of person that, okay, we win, another easy game. To be the kind of person to reach out to others and to initiate these relationships. And if you do, this will be so great, because the feeling of being on your own can be so depressing, so enraging, and it can make you feel devalued. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't still be able to find value in yourself. You should still be able to love yourself and not rely on yourself talking to other people as like a test of your sanity. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that spending time with other people is a good thing. So just doing these basic things in order to do that is just fantastic. Okay? And if you want to help me out, you can spread the message farther. If you have friends now and you've reached out to them and they haven't done as much with you, and they've been they tell you about their problems, just tell them what I told you, which is that when you reach out to people for the first time, be like, when you're in an environment around them, be very intentional about talking to them, so you never get this anxious feeling of, oh, it would be awkward to do it now. And then number two, I'm just gonna let that ant stay there. Number two, once you made these connections, actively invite them to do things. Is there something that you would want to do with them? Well, just tell them. Ask them to do it. Don't wait for them to invite you, because most people are too scared to do that. And well, how do you get over the fear? You have to put yourself out there, and I don't think this is really something you can take one step at a time. I'm sorry. You really just have to go for it. Okay? And I think you got this. I think everybody has the capacity to do this. If certain groups of people are more intimidating than other groups of people, then try to find people that are very similar to you. So if you really like playing board games, go to a board game club. You like Clash Royale, maybe there's some place nearby where you can meet people like that. And if that helps you feel more comfortable, fantastic. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I hope you hear that. And let's win this game of Clash Royale. Let's ignore the ants on my laptop and let's totally lock in. And I'm even getting there. I never do this. I never actually just play a game of Clash Royale, but I'm going to play a game of Clash Royale right now. Okay, 50 seconds left. My tower is down by a little more than 1,000. I have my Evos, but he has buildings, so it's kind of crappy. And he has a Mega Knight. I do have a Prince, so let me get that out. He's going to get value from the Firecracker. Oh, and his Mega Knight hit my Hunter, which is awful. His Evo Mega Knight knocks back my Prince. I think I can clean up his stuff, but this is not fantastic. And his lead is just getting bigger from all of the chip. So how are we going to win this? I can just go in right here. I don't know if this is smart. He probably has another Mega Knight he's just going to drop, right? Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so that was probably not a great play. I'm just doing my Prince to the bridge. Okay, that's good because it doesn't splash. We just killed his, and I want to cycle to something nice. Or even I could try switching lanes. That way, if he drops a Mega Knight, then I can sort of ignore that. But I have to stop that push. That's, yeah, non-negotiable. Okay, so I stopped that. Why don't I go for the other lane? And okay, that's annoying. What am I gonna do here? Okay, let's arrow his Firecracker. And are you thinking right now, guys? Are you thinking about reaching out to other people? Are these videos helpful? Can you let me know? Okay, we killed his Mega Knight. That Hunter got so much value, so I'm happy about that. I think I'm just gonna give up on this game. It always sounds like people walking, but I think there's some lizards over there. Should I just give up, you think? Because I could keep playing. But you know what? I'm going to recognize when I'm going to give up right now. And I'm just going to tell you guys one last time, a little more, briefly, whatever, about what I've been saying. So guys, I did this walk last time. Make sure you reach out to people. It's super important. And build a community. That's another thing, actually, that I need to mention. That maintaining those relationships is harder in a lot of ways than getting them, right? You can get a new relationship every couple months by talking to new people. That if you don't keep them, you're going to have to keep getting those relationships. So get the relationships, regularly check up with people. Just ask, how was your summer doing, whatever. And do that with them as soon as you meet them. Because the status quo bias also applies to how you handle the relationships. So when you create these relationships, communicate a lot, reach out to people, invite them to things, and just stay in contact with them, okay? I think you got this. I think I got this. We're both working through it, but it's going to be so good. Not just at the end, because there's not an end that exists, but throughout the entire process. Best of luck. Easy dubs. Not like that last game. That last game of Clash doesn't count like all of the other ones. There's going to be losses like that. And you can even give up on the relationships once they get horrible, like I gave up on that game. But you're going to have some really good relationships. There's an ant on my finger. It's really itchy. So I'm going to sign off. Good luck.